Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Netrunner players. We're here in scenic San Francisco for the 2024 Netrunner World Championships. My name is Cranked, pronouns he, him, and I'm joined by...
Juniper, she, her.
And we're here for, what is this, round 7?
Round 7,
Round 7 of the Swiss rounds here at the 2024 World Championships, and we have a good one cooked up for you right now. Let's go to the table. We've got Timmy Wong on your left, and we've got Lisan Al-Jaib. We've got Jai coming in all the way from Singapore on your right. Jai representing Asa Group that we were mentioning in after the lunch break, and similarly, we have Timmy Wong. That your eyes do not deceive you. That is Ayla BIOS Rahim Simulant Specialist.
No idea what these decks are doing, honestly. I mean, I can guess for Asa, but I'm really unsure what Ayla was doing. I'm really excited to see it.
I am too, and speaking of Ayla, we're seeing her ability fire off right now. Timmy Wong looking at the top 6 cards of his deck, deciding what 4 cards he wants to tuck under that ID. Those 4 cards, he can spend a click to pull them out from under his ID and add them to his grip. Trying to decipher what might be getting shuffled back into the deck here. I saw a simul chip amongst them. June, what would you be looking to tuck under your ID? Granted, we're in the dark, but what sort of cards would you be looking to tuck under your ID?
I'm really not sure, because most Ayla decks are usually doing something combo-based, and so you usually want to put a combo tool under your identity. You want to put down, I don't know, if you're doing the worst version of this deck with a deep dive, or maybe that is what this is, you put a deep dive under identity, then you can never lose it to net damage, and when you do want to do it, you just pull it out real quick. Maybe, oh, it looks like we're getting a... No, because you have to shuffle it back in.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
My brain immediately went to Mulligan.
Yeah, Mulligan happens next. So for those of you who have not played BIOS before, the first thing you start a turn or you start a game is a little bit different than usual. You're going to start by shuffling your deck and pulling those top 6 cards, choosing which 4 of them you want to tuck under your ID. Then you're going to go to your initial opening hand. Then you can decide if you want a mulligan. So you have a little bit of shuffling to do up front at the beginning of this game. Meanwhile, Jai just over here, patient as ever. Jai flew a long way to get here. Oh, thanks, Timmy. Thanks so much. I happened to catch an Euler in that opening hand amongst all. Let's take a look. That's a Tacobi. We got a VR-cation. I think I saw a simul chip under there as well. Twitch chat.
Thank you so much.
You can rewind the feed, Twitch chat, and let me know what I may be missing there.
Someone clip that section.
Yeah,
actually, don't, because then everyone will be able to see what comes. But
meanwhile, on the other side of the table, Jai representing Asa Group, HB, sort of reminiscent of the old Haley Kaplan ability for those of you who are playing in Sand Cycle.
Yeah. Jai not giving us a big good look at his cards.
No, Jai much less forthcoming with the contents of his hand. But Jai very well known for playing Asa Group. I believe his decks typically revolve around cards like the Hollow Man, really just trying to set up a number of remotes that are just annoying enough for the runner to check that they eventually lose steam and can't check all of them.
It looks like we didn't get a mulligan, so here we go.
And we're off. Jai starting off with the opening draw, and let's see what he can come up with here. Generally, with Asa Group, you are looking to stick a high-value asset behind a piece of ice very early. Rashida Jahim going right then into the server. And then protected by unknown ice. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can install it with the extra click from Asa, so you can get something down really fast.
And then we're going to see an ice and
Protect HQ.
Protect HQ as well.
And then... Oh, another one. A naked install.
Curious to disrespect the R&D run against a Shaper opponent. This would smell like Jai just kind of banking on Timmy not having a trick shot, or at least not being scared of the trick shot on turn 1. Looks like we're going to go to...
Trick shot could be pretty good if Timmy can put down something that like can get into a server, because you could trick shot and then get into the server as well, since trick shot lets you do an extra run. Oh, is that's an SMC?
That looks like a copy of SMC. Here's a Miss
Bones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good
Bones
against Asa.
Bones is very, very good in this position.
Bones is 12 credits that you could use to basically trash anything on the board.
Here's an overclock. We're charging the remote. This makes sense. We've got this SMC ready to go.
Forcing the res, which is pretty smart at this point. Tattoo Bola.
Here's Tattoo Bola.
Right, yeah.
The econ card disguised as an ice. Very, very, very strong in Asa Group. This is a really good way to get an Asa Group trigger on the runner's turn, because when you swap the Tattoo Bola back to your hand, you're reinstalling the card. That does count as an install for the purposes of Asa Group. Here comes Cleaver.
Cleaver with the simul chip from using the overclock money to install a Cleaver, and then break the Tattoo Bola.
Yeah, makes a quick work of the Tattoo Bola.
Does Jai have something to do stuff with the Tattoo Bola yet?
It looks like he does.
Swap stuff around.
That looked like an MIC coming down in front of the server, though I didn't get a good look at it. I also saw a Blade of Barrier in Jai's hand as well. And now Timmy's going to access this Rashida, and I cannot imagine this Rashida is long for this
then
world.
installing a second card there too. And there's the Rashida. And spending one to trash it.
Yeah, right to the bin she goes. Today she did not get the job done. Timmy going to pass the turn back. Jai
That's a
drawing
really
card.
good feeling start right there.
Absolutely.
You got the Miss Bones down, you've got a Cleaver down, and you've already run through stuff.
Here's a copy of Spin Doctor. I'm going to draw 2. Jai just explaining the ice and the order in which he installed them off of the tattoo bowl. It's kind of an odd interaction. Timmy, not sure exactly what Timmy's tracking with that. Potentially what turn the ice was installed on.
Could be, yeah.
Jai continuing to draw up. This sort of would suggest that he's trying to fix his hand with the Spin Doctor.
Yeah, he might have been really counting on that early Rashida and didn't expect the standard Shaper SMC play something that gives you credits.
It's a very old school style of opening play. Let's just get some fake credits, charge the remotes, see what happens. We've got tools.
Charge the remote, use the SMC. It's what you used to do with Stim Hack.
Absolutely,
doing it with overclocks, honestly. I've mostly seen people do it with trick shots, so it's fun to see it done with overclock.
Yeah, and you don't even have to take a core damage to do it with overclock.
It would be very fun if Timmy's version of Ayla was just, I made a normal Shaper deck, just a normal old school Shaper deck that does good Shaper things, and we're about to see everyone find out that, like, actually you don't need all these new tools. Just play normal Shaper.
Yeah, just play normal Netrunner. Just click for credits, just draw cards, break ice, and just do it the old-fashioned way, the way we did it back in 2015. It's like a turn is back over on Timmy's side. We're going to run the Spin Doctor.
Oh, he is going to force the trash.
Yeah, it doesn't tax Timmy at all, aside from the Miss Bones credits.
It does mean that you don't waste the Spin Doctor, and potentially later you can shuffle the Spin Doctor back in with another Spin Doctor.
Or Ablative Barrier is
Or
another
Ablative
really
Barrier,
good way to
true.
get the Spin Doctor back in play.
Or if you're running Restores or anything like that.
Yeah, Restore, another occasionally popular option in an ASA group. It's another fun way to get an ASA trigger. And
Oh, I did see a deep dive, I think, in Timmy Wong's hand. So
That's a good one to know about.
That. Yeah. Guess it is doing that. All right.
VR-cation, very interesting. Timmy going broke, but it allows him to draw 4 cards to end his turn.
Yeah.
I think that does put him over on hand size, so he's gonna have to pitch a couple to the bin.
Let's see what he pitches.
Caught a Stone Ship in hand. I think he's still got that Oiler in hand from the from his opening draw.
Stone Ship's great against anything that would kill, but it's
Oh.
not necessarily the most useful here.
Yeah, I think it's mainly. I would guess that it's mainly going to get used to the draw
discarding
too.
the Oiler.
Discarding the Oiler is very interesting. Oiler does not match up too well with a lot of the HB ice, at least not initially. Gatekeeper, it's pretty ugly against to begin.
Perhaps he has like a Simulship in hand or something and could potentially SMC and Simulship.
That would be my guess as well. Yeah. Sometimes the bin is the best place for your breakers
Especially,
to be.
Yeah, because you want Oiler on the turn. You're going to use it.
Yes.
But he really needs to find a way to get some money.
Yeah, Timmy going broke for that one, although Timmy very notorious for loving to click for credits. Anyway, we're going to see Jai make a new remote. Let's see if he uses the ASA ability. He is going to protect that one. Jai looking to set up for a big fully operational at some point. That's the big key card that ASA group decks.
There it is.
Speak of the devil, he shall appear. There's fully operational. It's going to be 3 triggers. Jai can choose to either draw 2 cards or gain 2 credits 3 separate times.
So with ASA giving you a new server that you can put an ice in front of basically every turn. If you want to, you can install an asset or an agenda and then put an ice and then do that every turn. You can make a ton of servers that have at least 1 ice protecting them and get a huge fully operational.
Yeah, fully operational, just infinitely scaled. It's almost never a dead card, and it's generally the card that ASA decks rely on.
We've got Dirty Laundry and R&D. Seeing a Mavirus. Interesting.
Yeah, Mavirus.
I don't know if that does anything against this sort of Shaper.
I would guess not. Shapers are not immensely reliant on viruses, although we have seen some of the lat decks be on Fermenter today, which Mavirus is happy to make quick work of. Now, that does mean that the top of R&D is fresh. Timmy could run back for a fresh look. Chooses
like
not to.
Sure gamble just to get all the money. So I guess that turn was just credit, Dirty Laundry, sure gamble.
That's what it would look like to me, too. Pass the turn back, and it's over to Jai. Jai's
worrying to do that with all of those face-down cards on the field.
Especially with an upgrade in one of them, it would sort of suggest that Jai has some sort of Hollow Man possibly, or some sort of scoring tool in one of those remotes.
Yeah.
There's
I'm not seeing anything yet. There was no res at the beginning of turn, so no cohort.
Correct.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or it could be on the field and is just being left for now.
The other card that I could potentially see being in one of these servers is a card like the Powers That Be, another very powerful card in ASA
Powers
group.
That Be is fantastic in this sort of a deck.
Yeah. There's a second fully operational. Jai must be thrilled to see that one so soon.
Yeah. Powers that be, or what if team sponsorship was more fair? Would it still be broken? The answer is yes.
I believe the fully operational Jai drew 2 credits. Now he's got 4 triggers off that fully operational. So draw 2, gain 6, net 5, I believe. Fully operational costing 1 to play.
He's got tons of money. He's got cards all over the place. He's in a great spot. All right, and there's a 3rd card in there. So I'm guessing there's maybe some sort of defensive upgrade on there along with a Hollow Man or something.
That would be a good guess. I think Managarm, Skunkworks, or Anoetic Void could be a possibility, although Void might be stretching it with influence. Let's see what Timmy chooses to do in this situation, whether he chooses to try to contest this remote or is content to continue setting up.
He can keep hitting R&D, and we know we did see the deep dive in hand, and right now there is nothing on the main servers to stop that.
Correct, yeah.
If he has a way to hit the 3 main servers, you could just deep dive at some point.
Yeah, HQ is only 1 ice deep, and there is an SMC on the board. Plenty of money. You got to think that Timmy can get through there.
If you can get a way to get an extra click and like you hit R&D, see a couple of agendas, you can just end the game like that.
Absolutely.
With deep dive.
Yeah.
It's tempting in those scenarios to just keep hitting R&D and try and get out an early win, but it's dangerous because you're letting all of that go uncontested.
Yeah, absolutely. And Deep Dive is generally considered a finisher in a lot of these decks, not an opener. Now, sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures, but...
Yeah, but if you hit R&D a few times and see some agendas, then you're in finisher range, and there's nothing on R&D right
Exactly.
now.
I saw Timmy glance at his ID cards.
Right. He is grabbing...
There's a simultaneous... Ooh, there's a copy of Takobi. Very underappreciated card from, I believe, Katara Cycle. It's it gets power counters whenever you fully break a piece of ice. You can spend 2 of them to give a non-AI icebreaker +3 strength for I believe the remainder of the encounter.
Takobi. So this is at this point, Timmy could technically break anything. SMC can go get another icebreaker, and there's the Euler in the bin for code gates. So technically, Timmy has some sort of a rig set up.
He does. I wonder if Timmy is potentially biding his time until he gets another card like an Overclock or like a Trick Shot that's going to give him, for lack of a better phrase, fake money to use on that SMC.
Could be. Let's see what Jai does here with his massive number of servers. Are we going to see a res? Are we finally going to see something that's in one of them?
Jai furrowing his brow. He's in the tank a little bit. The score here looks good. Even if you do Powers That Be is not... It's pretty good because you can recur the Rashida from the bin or the Spin Doctor, both of which are quite strong.
I have an important question while we wait.
Yeah.
Do you think... Oh, there's a Spin Doctor.
There's Spin Doctor.
That means there's nothing in that server to worry about yet.
Not yet. It makes me wonder if that was a bluff, if he thought Timmy would try to go for it.
Leaving the other Spin Doctor in archives, that's... I assume trying to get it out later with Powers That Be.
I think so. Something like Powers That Be or Ablative Barrier would be my guess. Sometimes those cards are more accessible in the bin than they would be in R&D.
Well, while he shuffles, I have an important question. Do you think it means anything that above Jai's head is just written Chads?
Let's find out. Let's see how the game progresses, and we will see if this is some foreshadowing. Above the man they call Lisan Al-Jaib. There's the Hollow Man.
Oh, boy. And moving it, is that going to be a score?
Hollow Man.
Okay.
What a juke from Jai. Putting the Spin Doctor in the 2 deep remote, potentially the agenda in the 1 deep remote.
Let's see. This could be a... Hollow Man does...
It's going to be 3 advancements.
So 3. Yeah. So this could be a full like Iqawa here.
So we're going to put 4. Oh, it looks like there are 5 advancements on that card. Could be Iqawa Project. Yes, it is.
Yes, it's an Iqawa. Oh.
And there is a Powers That Be trigger. Got to think that one of the Rashida or the Spin Doctor is coming right back.
They're putting the Rashida probably in the same server that the... Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 deep. That makes sense.
Really miserable to get in there.
Now, Jai did spend quite a bit of money to do this. I believe he is down to 5 credits on his side of the board, but getting the Iqawa Project scored is often one of the hardest jobs for these Asa Group decks.
It looks like Timmy's just counting which cards came out of the bin.
Okay.
To keep track of like which cards were installed by something like that.
Gotcha.
Or such. So.
Timmy, an extremely methodical player, very thoughtful in his lines of play.
Only 3 credits. You could probably get in to trash the Rashida. I wonder if that's a trap, if that's just going to waste your time. It always feels worth it to trash a Rashida, but I wonder why 3 credits. Oh, 3 credits is perfect for a Gatekeeper, though.
It's also perfect for a Gatekeeper. Ablative Barrier is also online here.
Oh, it is online.
Yeah, we are, I believe, Ablative Barrier is threat 3, if I'm not mistaken. We may want to get the card text on the board before I commit to that answer. It is threat 3. Thank you, Stream Team. Yes, Ablative Barrier is active right now. The very powerful barrier from the most recent cycle, able to recur cards by just a simple 2-cost res.
If I were Timmy, I'd be much more worried about a Gatekeeper, though, because I don't know how you deal with Gatekeeper at 6 strength.
Correct. Euler is an answer, not an ideal answer per se. Euler not exactly matching up great against the on-res extra strength that Gatekeeper gets.
Let's see.
Timmy pondering his options. Hand resting on a copy of Dirty Laundry.
Dirty Laundry going for the Hollow Man.
I like the play here. The Hollow Man is how this game can spiral out of control very, very quickly in Jai's favor.
And he might have been reading the Rashida as a bait, as saying, come in here, come and get me, and knowing that there's probably something that can give some sort of value if he hits it, like a Gatekeeper.
Looks like Timmy is taking back that Dirty Laundry, so we may be thinking better of this line of play. What would you be what would you be thinking about from Timmy's position here? There's a lot of unknown information on this board.
I'm not sure. I feel like you have to start pushing on things, especially at 3 credits. You have to start pushing into some servers and trying to hit stuff. Okay, Dirty Laundry R&D instead.
This makes sense
that's
as well.
the safe option. Yeah.
There's another Rashida. Gotta think this one may go to the bin. Looks like it will.
You gotta trash that.
Yeah, Rashida
Although
generally.
that makes the ablative so much worse because you hit the ablative and you can just put the Rashida in the Hollow Man server, especially if it's last click.
Yes.
Now running on the
Now we charge the Hollow Man.
Probably, I guess Timmy was probably very worried about losing the credits from the Dirty Laundry.
Yes.
And also Dirty Laundry took him down to only a few credits, which might not have been enough to easily trash the Hollow Man.
Yeah.
If you get its cheap ice rezzed, you break it, but you can't trash the Hollow Man.
Correct. Jai in a tough position here. I think he just has to let the Hollow Man go, and it looks like that is the option.
So Mrs. Bones can trash the Hollow Man.
Yeah. Any installed card is what Miss Bones can deal with. And looks like about 7 credits left on Miss Bones. Timmy back to pondering his options. I believe he is down to only 2 cards in hand, and that is kind of the tightrope that you must walk against these Asa group decks. They go very, very quickly, and you often do not have time to draw a lot of cards.
And you got to see this as a big opportunity with the Corp only on 3 credits. This is your opportunity to push on stuff and not be scared. You not suddenly run into a Brawn or an Ansel or something much worse.
Yes, worst case scenario, I think you nailed it on the head. Gatekeeper would be a little annoying for Timmy to deal with from this position.
Yeah.
Be a lot of cards going into Jai's hand between that and the Rashida trigger.
But you got to start running eventually because that Takobi has to get something. All right,
yes.
Here we go.
With
1 click left, so I'm guessing. Oh, there's the Tatu Bola.
Here's Tatu Bola.
1 credit.
Now, this is a really interesting. This is a really interesting fork here. Timmy could just let this fire, but Jai is going to get the Rashida credits next turn if he bounces off of this.
But if he goes through it, then the Tatu Bola can get returned to hand and potentially get more credits, which could res something behind it.
Exactly. It's sort of a catch-22 here, if you will.
Interesting.
Really interesting position that Timmy is in here, thinking about whether or not he wants to go through this economy card and ice kind of all mashed up into one.
Looks like it's going to bounce.
He's going to bounce off of it. Okay.
And then install Stone Chip? Okay, all right.
Path of turn back. Timmy's last card in hand appears to be a copy of Deep Dive. Here's the Rashida trigger. 3 credits, 3 cards. We're going to go to our mandatory.
So with no Hollow Man anymore, Jai has to have something to be able to replace it. Another Hollow Man, obviously, of course, but can't score out this turn, most likely.
Most likely. I don't believe he could score an agenda from this position, especially being this low on credit. So I would think that Jai likely to just use this turn as a building turn. We're going to stuff a card in that remote. Let's see if there's an upgrade or an ice he wants to put with it.
Let's see. Love to see one of those fully ops he shuffled back in. immediately get you back to a ton of credits.
Yeah, fully up is down to only 3 triggers here, but that can be solved very, very quickly.
I wonder what that upgrade is. Probably a Skunkworks. You can't have 2 Hollow Men installed on the same server and only res 1, right?
They are not regions, so you can have 2 installed, but only 1 can be res as he is unique.
Really? So you could just put 2 Hollow Men in the same server like that?
You could, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I believe the only card type that actually checks for other card types in the way that you're describing would be specifically regions.
Yeah.
That limit 1 region server is essentially game rules text rather than text that only matters on res.
And it's unique, but unique only matters on like res. You
Exactly.
can't keep res unique.
Yes. I don't believe Jai is opting to use his Asa trigger with that that card that went in the. Or I could be wrong here. I don't.
He hasn't put a card in.
He hasn't put a card.
Okay, putting a card on R&D.
Here's R&D.
Putting another card on R&D. Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
That does. There's a lot of cheap ice. It's going to ruin Timmy's day a little bit.
On a 3rd card in a server. Okay.
Maybe.
Oh no! Wait, hold on.
Maybe not for this entire turn.
Taking the entire turn.
Okay,
back.
we're gonna undo turn, as if this were JNet. We're gonna try this again.
Interesting.
Jai, that initial play that Jai chose was, it read a lot like a lot of deference to something like Deep Dive, at least to me. Let's see what he chooses to do instead. Looks like he's setting up a brand new remote with his Asa ability instead.
I'm guessing. Well, I assume because this is the mistake I would have made, but oftentimes you install something above, you pay the 1, and then you realize now, okay, wait, now that I've paid the 1 for installing in a second server, I can't res something important.
Ooh, here's a copy of
Wage Workers. So install, and then you get the extra click from Wage Workers.
Click. Oh,
and a fully up.
Oh, pure.
That's so much value.
Value.
Oh.
HB players love it. Runners hate it. 5 fully operational triggers. That is so much money. Jai started that turn on what, 4 credits, and half this board state not being there. Wow.
Jai has to be looking for a trick shot at this point. That's got to be the main card you're looking for, because you need the extra credits so that you can get stuff with your simul chip or your self-modifying code. You need the potential multi-access. You need to start building so that you can't deep dive unless you already have something to do afterwards.
It would be very, very unlikely to win off of just a deep dive with no other agendas touched.
Like you said, deep dive is a finisher, so you have to have the agendas. You have to have a couple of agendas already.
Correct.
Let's see.
Looks like Timmy popped his stone ship to draw 2 cards. Didn't get a good look at what those were. So we have a deep dive and 2 unknown cards. We're going to charge HQ.
On HQ.
Shuffling through his hand, thinking about what Timmy may access if he is able to get into HQ. There's a copy of Drafter.
It's a Drafter, so Timmy's going to have to SMC for Sentry Breaker.
Yeah, some sort of killers or some way of dealing with this Drafter. You can't let this one fire.
With the 2 Rashidas in the bin, definitely don't want it. And with you can just get a fully op.
Exactly.
Back,
yeah, you can.
Really bad.
Yeah.
That could reinstall a Hollow Man and get a fully op back. It's just miserable.
You're just burying the runner in tempo.
There we go. There's the pay for the SMC.
Yeah, here's the SMC. Let's see. I'm curious what his killer is going to be. Echelon tends to be quite popular, but wouldn't be great in this position.
You might have to.
Looks like there's an Ika. There's also a copy of Revolver.
Okay.
All right. Yep, there
so
is the gun.
That's going to cost 2, and then
I believe it's going to deal with
2 more.
I think it's 2 credits and 2 power counters
2
on
credits,
the Revolver
power counters.
to deal with this
break
Drafter. So not
get to hand,
and it does get to Kobe 1 power counter.
It does hurt a lot with how much that costs.
It does. Jai with plenty of money left over for Boar if Timmy wanted to check any other servers this turn. See what he accesses. There's a Skunk Works. Not enough money to trash that one. Miss Bones won't help you here. Boy, the Sentry is probably the last thing Timmy wanted to see from this position. Forced him to use that SMC. I would think, a lot earlier than he would like. But
it feels like he's making a lot of calculated gambles, and all of them are paying off as badly as possible.
yeah.
Sometimes when you're playing Netrunner, you're pulling the lever on a slot machine, and every single time you're thinking, this is a safe thing that I've figured out the odds of, and figuring out the odds doesn't mean they can't always end up against you.
We see Timmy with a little shake of the head there. He did not want to see a drafter in this position. He knows that this is starting to get dire for him. Even on just a purely board state level, you look at the playmat on your left and the playmat on your right, and kind of tells the tale of this game so far. But this is Netrunner. It's never over until it's 7 points or one player's dead. Just charge the wage workers. Gutsy. I like this.
Only 2 credits in hand. That's a brave move.
Yeah,
Although,
this is gutsy.
If it gets rezzed, Jai is extremely low on credits. What could this be? What could really hurt at 6 credits? I mean,
Brawn's not the worst thing, I don't think.
Brawn would be great for Timmy, because if you res Brawn, you go broke, and then you can do whatever you want. You can blow up the powers that be. You can run on that new remote.
As strange as it is, Ablative Barrier might be quite bad here as well. It's going to further stretch Timmy.
And it could put a Rashida into that server that's so already iced up that Timmy doesn't want to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And likely gives Jai another Asa trigger in doing so.
This is the sort of pressure I like to see, though, considering how many credits does the Corp have. How can I try and make sure that they don't have those credits?
No, we're going to see no res, and the Wage Workers hits the pin.
So I'm guessing it was something like a Brawn, something big that was expensive and difficult. All right, and then we see telework, and then click the telework for 3 credits.
Timmy's got to be breathing a sigh of relief that ice is not face up at the moment that was protecting the Wage Workers. Passes the turn back. Here comes Jai.
Right, let's see. Is that going to be Hollow Man instant score? Some awful thing?
The Hollow Man would be quite committal. I think the Jai... The Hollow Man costs 2 to res and 4 to activate, if I'm not mistaken. So Jai may be a bit short on money after the drafter res to threaten a score here, but we'll see what he cooks up. I think Timmy appears to be thinking about something here. Looks like we're going to pop the Simmel chip to get that Oiler
Oh,
play.
Because SMC was already trash this turn, just to get it out on the board.
Not ideal. You really want that first line of text on Oiler to be relevant that allows you to break for free the turn it's installed.
But with the SMC gone and there being no console yet, you have to get something out there so you know that you aren't going to later have to blow up your revolver.
Correct. This is probably the safest time for Timmy to utilize that Simmel chip. Jai looks like a copy of Nico campaign, a few pieces of ice in hand. I believe I see an MIC. I see a card stuffed into that remote.
Not sure what that was. I'm
no
guessing
Asa trigger either.
That new one was the Nico campaign from where it was in hand, but that's a pure guess.
Yeah, that would make sense. Just more things that Timmy would awfully like to trash and may not have the time to do so.
He has a suite set up. It's not a great suite. He really needs something to make it go faster.
Yes.
Even just like a trick shot or something.
Yeah, trick shot would be a real shot in the arm here.
Was he running R&D? Is he just rushing R&D? Or running...
Just setting his hand down. Now, the hand motion suggested a run, but it doesn't look like we're heading anywhere quite yet.
Let's see. Thinking through everything really carefully.
This is Worlds. You want to make sure you get it right. Looks like what is draw? Dirty Laundry. Not bad here.
Yeah, it's dangerous to play that on a server because with 6 credits, then your opponent isn't rezzing something and just keeping you out. It's rezzing something and really, really denying you a bunch of credits.
Yeah.
But you do have archives open. Alternatively, you could Dirty Laundry into HQ, which would get you another Takobi counter.
It would.
All right, we saw taking a credit.
Yeah. There's Onacom.
Onacom, and then I assume the Dirty Laundry. Yep, Dirty Laundry archives. There we go.
Perfectly sequenced.
For 5 credits and a draw.
Looks like we're going to pass the turn. Ooh, that's a copy of Chrysium Grid in the bin.
Interesting.
Very unusual included in Asa group list.
Could be.
Is that a concession at deep dive, you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. With so many lat deep dives running around, easy way to do that.
You called it. There's the Nico campaign. That's going to be credit positive.
Well, wait. If the Nico campaign is there, then what's in the server above it?
Could be the
'Cause I thought that was
Skunkworks.
Nico. Okay. Right, there was a Skunkworks. Yeah. I assume Jai's currently looking for
Second wage workers. Could it
Oh.
be, or could it
Are
be
we
an
gonna see the
agenda? Looks like an agenda. Is this an off-world office?
off-world office, which gets all your credits back.
Brutal for Timmy. And the powers that be is going to go off. Now the heads-up play from Jai could be the Chrysium grid. Let's see what he chooses to value on this powers that be trigger. Got a lot of options available to him.
Looks like he's installing something from hand. From archives.
Reaching for the bin. I think the archives looks.
Yeah,
we're gonna go for the Rashida. Now we could still install something from hand here. I don't believe there's been an Asa group trigger. Does not appear to be one though. I think we're content to pass the turn back to Timmy Wong.
So you have to be thinking that wage workers is the most dangerous thing on the board because
I think so.
I mean, technically, right now you're probably safe because there's a Diesel.
Yeah, it's a copy of Diesel. There's a
and there's the trick shot,
which
I almost certainly wanted earlier.
Yeah, we may have something cooking here. Trick shot also a really great way to deal with wage workers, particularly with a full rig.
You could we might see a trick shot into the wage worker server, or honestly even into the server that has the Rashida in it.
Yeah.
Because right now there isn't a threat of winning, I don't think.
I would be surprised. It would take something like a Biotic Labor or a piece that neither Timmy nor us have seen. That's a copy of Imp in Timmy's hand. The very, very gorgeous Alexis Spicer art. Oh, Timmy reaching for the Imp. There's an Imp.
Fascinating.
Awesome. Look at that hungry little guy. So cute.
Imp, click 1.
Diesel looks like Diesel was click 1 and then Imp was click 2.
See, I feel like you have to make sure you aren't running last click here is the thing.
Agreed.
Because if you run last click and you hit an ablative barrier.
It may be lights out.
All right,
Here's
there we
trick
go.
shot.
Trick shot. Yep. Okay. Will we see a res here?
Jai's sitting on 9 credits here, although he does have 3 coming in from this Nico campaign, assuming that it lives. I would
But he
imagine
also has the Rashida, he has the Nico campaign, all the money, but he has to protect both R&D and the server with the wage workers.
Yes.
So if those two items add up to more than 9, he has to figure out which one he wants to res.
It does not look like Jai is resing. Timmy going to see 2 cards and he has 6 credits sitting on this trick shot.
All right, 2 more. Seeing an agenda here would be incredible.
There's the Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Gotta think that one's gone.
Interesting. Yeah, you got to blow that up. Yeah. Couldn't you use the Imp? Oh, and there's the Imp to blow up the fully op.
fully op. Couldn't have drawn it up better if he tried.
All right, now
let's see where he
I
goes.
assume going for the wage workers, but I could be wrong. He could push the Rashida or something.
Now, plenty of resources on Timmy's side, although none of them truly liquid. 4 credits still sitting on that trick shot. 2 credits in his credit pool. What's the worst case scenario for Timmy to run into in this position? Maybe something.
I think it's just ablative barrier.
Ablative barrier would be pretty bad.
Because ablative barrier can put back down a Hollow Man, and then you lose. Because then if the Corp can have an agenda, they just install, score it. Like that puts you in a point where if the Corp gets an agenda, you lose.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there's some really big and scary ice, like anything that's a really big sentry.
On-cell, perhaps.
Would be really annoying, but I think weirdly the tiny little ablative barrier is absolutely the scariest.
Such an unassuming card, and yet capable of doing so much damage.
Did the trick shot not fire? Did he? Oh no, he's choosing to run the.
He's running the Rashida.
There it is. There's the
ablative. What are we getting back?
What's he going to get back, and where's he going to put? Oh, he's putting a Rashida over
Second
there.
Rashida.
Okay, and trashing the powers that be. So he is just desperately looking for his thing. I wonder if the ASA has one fast advance tool. Because I've seen some sort of this kind of deck running like one fast advance tool just as a finisher. A Biotic Labor or something, or if you have the influence like an Audacity, which usually isn't the right idea, but it can just win you the game instantly.
We're going through the ablative, going through the Tatu Bolo.
Getting even more money, and then...
Now, it should be noted that second Rashida in the One Eye server is not rezzed.
Ooh, and there's the... Okay.
Now, we can pay through the Skunkworks, and we...
Can he?
I believe so. I think we have 4 credits. Actually, do we? How many we spent? No, we do not. I think we're 1 credit short. Oh, brutal. Looks like we're down to only about
more money here.
Yeah, and we're down to about 5 minutes left in the round. Timmy in dire straits here. still with 1 click remaining. Let's see what Timmy chooses to do with it. We're going to run the Nico campaign server. And we're just going to concede it. Pass the turn back. Rashida's. Did we not fire the Rashida? There, you called it.
I called
Biotic
there it is.
For
Biotic
Project
to score.
Vitruvius.
Yep, there it is.
Jai with an absolute clinic on the Asa.
Yeah, I feel bad for Timmy Wong. That was a beautiful deck, and it was beautiful to see it, but every single time just having the SMC and needing to find a trick shot or an overclock and not being able to see it, or running a server and running to the exact dice you didn't want to see.
Exactly.
It felt like the worst feeling with a deck like that, where you have all the tools and they just never come up at the right time.
But masterfully played by Jai. Like I said, an absolute clinic. That's exactly what these Asa groups or Asa group decks are trying to do. Just bury the runner in tempo, saying, here's a bunch of must-trash assets that you just have to deal with, or else I will just steamroller you by effectively taking 4 or 5, even 6-click turns as the corporation.
And then at the very end, when you think you might have a chance to try and desperately pull out a win by like catching them while they're trying to find all their tools, you just score out of hand.
There's the rug pull of the Biotic Labor, absolutely. So congratulations to Jai. Jai maintaining his undefeated record thus far, 7-0, locked for day 2.
Beautiful
He's
game
locked for day 2 right now. It's about as good as a performance as he could have drawn up. So
beautiful game from both of them. Really
absolutely,
fun play.
absolutely. Timmy far from out of contention. Only 2 losses. He's still a long tournament left to go. A lot of time left. Anything could happen in a tournament this big.
As a reminder, you need to make day 2. You need 7 wins. Because at minimum, the minimum you could possibly make the top cut with is 10 wins. Or, yeah, 10 wins.
I believe that's correct, yes.
Yeah. So you need 7 wins. You need 7 wins in order to have a chance of making the top cut on the second day. If you have less than 7 wins, there's no possible way you could make top cut. So
correct.
You don't have to come back tomorrow.
Yes.
You should, because there's a lot of fun events and a lot of fun stuff happening, but you don't have to compete in the main event tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like I said, congratulations to Jai for continuing his undefeated streak. We're going to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Don't go too far. Grab a drink, do your Duolingos, and we'll see you back here in a few.
Yeah, see you then.
Hello and welcome back to the 2024 Netrunner World Championship. I'm Orbital Tangent, he, him, and I'm joined by a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, nice to be here, Orbs. I am Cobrabubbles. People may know me as a UK organizer. I'm also the lead editor at NSG, current Scottish regional champion, and judging here this weekend.
Have to give your accolades before we get into it, don't you?
Of course.
All right, excellent. So as a fellow TO here, runner of OTG, shout-outs to OTG, I had to have you on here just real quick to give a quick shout-out. It turns out you're going to be helping with a very special event coming up here soon. Do you want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, that's right. So it's UK Nationals coming up in 1 month's time on the weekend of the 15th, 16th, 17th November in Bristol in the UK. Set to be the second biggest tournament of the year, assuming we sell about 5 to 10 more tickets between now and then. Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun. We've got 3 days of competition, similar to Worlds. We've got a team event. We've got a standard main event, various side events, including the much vaunted Classique, on the Sunday. Yeah, lots of players coming out from around Europe, from across the pond as well, here in the States, hopping over. And of course, the many leading lights of the UK Netrunner scene. And this is all coming off the back of the regional season that was really successful, over 150 unique players across 6 regionals. So yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to be a good time.
That does sound really, really exciting. So about how many players do you have signed up for that right now?
We have about 100 signed up right now. So
Excellent.
yeah, we've got capacity for up to 150. We're expecting somewhere in the region of 120, 130.
Okay, I was about to ask you if there was a cap on that tournament, so you did hear it here first. UK Nats is capped at 150. So you said you're expecting 120 players. So those tickets actually looks like could sell out.
Yeah, it's true. We currently we're selling the 130 to start with, and we've got a few buffer for various other reserves and eventualities. So yeah, so there are about 30-ish tickets still actually on sale.
Excellent, excellent. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention about the UK Nationals? Anything special that people should know?
Just that it's a really great way to cap off your tournament season, especially if you missed Worlds, if you've been watching the stream this weekend and thinking, gosh, I wish I was there, but it's so far from wherever I am in the world. Maybe Bristol is a little closer for you, and you can come and hang out with us. And if you like the sound of my voice, you'll hear a lot more of it as I'll be on the mic running things at that event. Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Okay, excellent. Well, so I do want to thank you from the bottom of my fellow TO heart there, Cobrabubbles, for being on and telling us about UK Nats. Everybody, if you are excited for that, make sure to get your tickets. It looks like and sounds like they're selling like hotcakes. Again, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and cut away and get back to the next game real soon here. So everybody, go ahead and keep watching. Our coverage of the 2024 Netrunner World Championship will continue. Thank you, and always be running.